Yeah, how's it going, everyone? In today's video, I want to talk about overdoing your code, perfecting your code. Now, this does not mean that you should write spaghetti code, but what this means is actually the code should do what the code is meant to do. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, sometimes you think you could make the code just a little bit shorter and it could execute a little bit quicker. Now, we as web developers, we have JavaScript and Node.js, and actually that's also JavaScript, and React, and yeah, that's also JavaScript. Everything is JavaScript, but we have these programming languages and we want to make them shorter and shorter and shorter. And sometimes it is not necessary. Again, the code needs to do what the code is meant to do. I also had this problem in the course that I'm working on, and I think it's much easier if I just show you this. So this is the very last project of the course. We're going to create a complete website, but this is not the point. The point that I want to make is that at some point in the course, I want to illustrate to the student how a alert component works. Now, the alert component is only created using Sass, and this alerts the user at a form submission if the form is valid or not, or if the user introduced his credentials correctly. Now, we have here two forms. One is a login form and one is a registration form. So let me just show you how this works. If the user would try to log in without introducing something, then an alert will appear. Please complete all fields. Now, if only one field is completed, for example, Norbert, then it will still run the alert. Now, you can also close up the alert. This is not the point. So we need to complete both fields in order to register the form. Also, again, we would have here a registration form. The registration form, again, would do the same thing. It would check if all fields are completed, and if they are, then it will register and log you in. Now, the problem with this was, and actually here's the code, I created one JavaScript file where I would have to look for both forms. So if the JavaScript file is in my index.html loaded, actually here's no longer loaded, then it will check for both forms, and these forms are in different HTML files. So register and login, and it would check if it's a login form or if it's a registration form, and then if it's a login form, it should only take the input fields from the login form, and if it's a registration form, then it should only take the input fields from the registration form. And it should have been a much longer code base than this, and it was overcomplicating things. So what I did, I just split up the code. So basically the login form only uses the JavaScript code from the login form, basically this code, and the registration form only uses the registration JavaScript file. So this is a way how you can simplify things. It's not the best code in the world, but it does its work. It just illustrates to the student how an alert would work. It doesn't need to do anything more. I don't even teach JavaScript in this course. I teach HTML and CSS and Sass. And I was trying to overcomplicate things and overdo things, and instead of just finishing and actually teaching the student what I wanted to do, I was overcomplicating code. So I think this is a great lesson. The code needs to do what a code is meant to do. Nothing more, nothing less. If you overcomplicate your code, you're never finished. And just think about it. A user or a client at the end of the day, or if you're creating a web application, the application should do a specific thing. Now, if it's a couple of milliseconds quicker or slower, does someone really notice that? Is it a game? Does it need to move in at specific frames per second? If it doesn't, then just solve the problem. Solve the login problem. Solve the data fetching problem. Solve the problem you need to solve. And don't create more code or complicated code. A code should be commented out, really good comments. So if you come back, if anyone else opens your code, they should read through your code, okay, that and that and that. And don't tell me about those people that, oh no, if the code is correct, then it reads itself. Man, forget about those things. Comment out your code. Sometimes you come back to your code years later, or maybe a week later, and you can't remember what you did because you were working on something else. Comment out your code. That's all you need to do. And write short and specific code. Just let the code do its thing, and that's it. Okay, that's it for now. Sorry, I can't release a new project video because I really want to finish the course. Also, my son is 1 week late. My wife is still pregnant, and any moment now I should get a call and head up to the hospital. So catch you next time, and take care, everyone. Bye bye.